friends, Christy here from makingitinthe mountains.com, and today I'm going to take you on a before and after tour of our DIY farmhouse. Alright friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am over the moon excited about today's video. When I put together our latest home tour a couple of weeks ago, it got me thinking about how far this house has come. So it's been about 5 years since we moved into this old house from the 70s, and though it was really well taken care of, it definitely needed some updating and tweaking of the layout to work better for our family. We dove right into our first renovation just 1 month after moving into this house, and we haven't looked back. In the 5 years that we've lived here, we have worked our way through nearly every space in this house, and though it's not perfect, it has come such a long way. Sure, we updated all of the aesthetic finishes like the paint and the flooring, but we also made some major changes to the layout to make this home work better for our family. And sure, the list of things we would still like to do is long, but looking back at these before and afters, I still can't believe the things we've been able to accomplish in just 5 short years. Now, I want you to keep in mind that all of the transformations you're about to see were done almost completely by my husband and I. Not only did doing things ourselves help us keep our budget in check, but most importantly, we learned very quickly that nobody is going to bring the attention to detail and take the care that we will with our home. I hope that sharing these transformations is going to inspire you to take on any spaces that you are not totally thrilled with in your own home. Honestly, if we can transform this house, so can you. Now, this video is jam-packed with before and after photos of each space of our home, but I didn't include a whole lot of design details. So if you're looking for any information about paint colors or flooring or any of the decor items, I will leave a link to a post on my blog that includes everything you'd need to know to recreate the spaces yourself. All right, so let's get this tour started. Let's start with the exterior of our home. This old house from the 70s was showing every bit of its 50 years. Though it was all in decent shape and really well cared for, it just looked tired. Replacing the windows, adding some DIY cedar shutters, and a stamped concrete porch really did wonders in updating the look of this old house. Instead of looking old and tired, everything looks so fresh and welcoming now. Now, the view as you walk into our home looks nothing like it did 5 years ago when we moved in. Obviously, the design elements have been updated, but the actual layout is completely different. We moved walls and closets, tore out and rebuilt the sunken living room floor, and removed a structural wall that divided it all in half. After a pretty extensive renovation of our entire main floor, I'd say this hardly feels like the same house we bought 5 short years ago. Though it was a super big project, removing the structural wall between our kitchen and our living room, and then rebuilding our sunken living room floor so that it was flush with the rest of our main floor, was the best thing we ever did. I love how open and airy everything feels now. And connecting all these spaces has created the perfect gathering space for all of our friends and family. This front living room used to be one of the most awkward spaces in our house. It was so long and narrow, it made furniture placement almost impossible to figure out. But now with that wall gone between the kitchen and living room, it's created a much more flexible floor space to place our furniture. Now, our kitchen probably saw the biggest transformation of any room in our home. Not only did we change out the design elements, cabinets, and layout, but best of all, we opened it up to our front living room, making it a perfect place to gather or entertain. Now, as you can see, we chose to continue the same hardwood flooring from the rest of our main floor through our kitchen as well. This really helped to keep that feeling of one big open space. We also continued that painted tongue and groove ceiling for the same reason. Now with that wall gone, it forced us to completely change the layout of our kitchen space as well. This meant all new cabinets and countertops. We ended up going with custom-made cabinets, which gave us a ton of options in adding in some extra organization elements. Now I put together a tour of our entire kitchen space, so I will leave a link to that video in the description box below for you, just so you can check out all of the features that we added to our kitchen. With all the new counter space, those gorgeous new appliances, and of course this beautiful open view into our new living room, this kitchen is an absolute dream to cook in now. Like the rest of our main floor, this view from our dining area has changed so much. This beautiful chandelier was one of my very first purchases for our new home, and I love the way it ties together with that gorgeous light in our entryway as well. I also love the character that this really simple DIY board and batten wall brings to our dining space as well. It's a great anchor for our kitchen and dining room. Now, our main floor renovation continued through the back of our house as well, with the back entry and mudroom space, as well as our back family room and powder room. Now, this actually involved moving another wall as well. We took out the back broom closet and pushed back that wall about 2 feet into our family room space to gain enough space to bring up our washer and dryer. Bringing our laundry up from the basement to our main floor has probably been one of my favorite parts of this main floor renovation. I also love how we were able to create this great hub for the back entrance to our home. Moving that wall back into our family room not only gave us the space for a washer and dryer, but it also allowed us to move our garage entrance from our family room into the mudroom space we'd created. Obviously, entering the house into the mudroom from the garage rather than the family room made so much more sense to the layout and function of our home. Now, what used to be an unused little corner off of our kitchen space became a great little pantry. And we also managed to sneak in some extra shoe storage for our mudroom as well. On the other side of our mudroom space is our powder room. Now, we actually tackled this powder room space before we did the rest of the main floor, as you can see in this photo. But it underwent a pretty major transformation as well. We kept the mudroom and powder room feeling connected with matching marble tile, which also tied in perfectly with our new vanity countertop as well. Though this space didn't really see any layout changes, simply changing out the vanity and the fixtures made such a difference to making this space feel updated and fresh. I love the warmth that new vanity and mirror bring to the space. Now, this back family room was actually the very first space that we renovated on this main floor. Because it was sort of a standalone room, we were able to renovate this before we took on the rest of our main floor, which gave us a great space to hang out while the rest of our main floor was under complete chaos. Now that back wall is actually the one that we moved in 2 feet to create the mudroom space. This also helped to make this back family room feel so much cozier and gave us a better layout to work with less wasted space. So the first phase of this renovation saw tongue and groove put around 3 walls of the room, with a green chalkboard wall finishing off that last wall. We also drywalled the ceiling to cover the popcorn and added a sliding barn door just to close things off when we needed to. We eventually carried in the hardwood from the rest of the main floor when we tackled that renovation. Now, taking you upstairs to where all of our bedrooms are located, this hallway saw a massive transformation with just a bit of paint and some new trim. We added some faux planks to the ceiling to cover up the popcorn, along with some new lighting, and I couldn't believe how fresh and clean this space felt with just those few small changes. Now, our master bedroom was actually the second room that we renovated after moving into this house, the first being my son's room. I chose to start with these spaces simply because I knew how important it was to put down some roots in this house and really help to make it feel like our home. Like our hallway, transforming this space was so much easier than I'd expected. We added a faux plank treatment to our ceiling to cover up that popcorn again, along with some new lighting. We painted out the walls, changed the trim, and added a beautiful stencil feature wall behind our bed. Those beautiful night tables and that dresser were actually handed down to my husband by his grandmother when he was a child. I've always loved the details on these pieces, but I especially love how they pop with that new coat of black paint. I love the vintage vibes that iron bed and those gorgeous chairs bring to this space as well. And speaking of vintage, we also found the most gorgeous set of antique doors that we were able to add to our closet. I really think they help add even more character to this space. Our master closet saw a pretty big transformation as well. What felt like such an unusable space for such a long time became so much more functional with this DIY closet system. With this simple DIY box system, we were able to create this perfect functional custom closet for ourselves in just one weekend. This main bathroom transformation still totally blows my mind. Not only were we able to make this a much more functional space by adding in double sinks and reworking the layout, but obviously it's so much more beautiful too. We added so much character to this space by covering the walls with faux shiplap and creating the most beautiful DIY vanity out of a vintage buffet. And by removing this huge tub, we were able to add back in a beautiful standalone tub along with a separate tiled shower. Our guest room was another really simple transformation with just a bit of paint, new lighting, and new trim work. A painted stencil wall and some new furniture finished off this space beautifully. Carson's room was the very first room that we tackled when we moved into this house, and we added so much character to this space. The warm woods and that deep green on the walls really helped to make this feel like the coziest little cabin. Now, right next door to Carson's bedroom, we had this sort of catch-all extra bedroom, which we transformed into the cutest little playroom space for him instead. I love having this playroom space just as much as he does. It is such a great way to keep all of his toys organized and contained in one area of our house. And that's it, friends. I hope you enjoyed this tour of our DIY farmhouse. Sure, it's not perfect, but looking back at these before and after photos really helps to remind me just how far this old house from the 70s has come. Okay friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this before and after tour of our DIY farmhouse. If you loved this video, please give it a thumbs up below, and of course, subscribe to my channel for even more farmhouse style DIY, decor, and recipe ideas. Thank you so much for watching.